universe of beer and music.
Good evening, friends, and welcome back. Or if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. I'm DrTangent, and we're about to take another wandering out into the dim realms that are beer and music. Tonight, very excited, very special beer tonight. You can't really even tell anything from the label. It is a black label with black printing on it. But what I can tell you, the beer name is Aphotic. Aphotic. Aphotic means characterized by the absence of light. Now, that can be taken many ways, but in its most pertinent, it means very, very dark beer. This is from Voodoo Brewing Company in Meadville, PA. And this is a special bottle from their Barrel Room collection. Aphotic starts out as a Russian Imperial Stout, which, if you remember my prior conversations about what Imperial means that it is a Russian Stout built bigger, higher ABV. In fact, this particular beer weighs in at 12.3% alcohol. Now, with the Barrel Room collections, they take their typically very heavy beers and hand select some barrels to age them in. This particular batch of Aphotic was aged for 30 months in Laird's apple brandy barrels. So I'm expecting a lot out of this beer. I'm expecting inky, black, opaque, probably not a whole lot of head, but there's going to be deep, rich notes of dark bitter chocolate, coffee. There should be oak tannins. There should be some apple, some booziness, maybe a little bit of toffee or caramel notes from the barrel and the brandy. But it should be very interesting. A little bit about Voodoo. Voodoo started in 2005 in Meadville, PA. And when they opened up their first tap room, the owner actually took the last $76 he had in the bank so that they could have change for the register. Now, it's a pretty big risk, obviously, and it's paid off. They now have 18 locations in 8 different states. They have created a franchising system. They own most of the tap rooms that are currently out there, but they do have a franchising system that if an individual is interested in bringing Voodoo to a particular location, they will work with that individual, vet them obviously to make sure that they could handle something like this, but then help them not only find financing and help them with the business model. They do food and beer, but the new owner doesn't have to brew any beer. They brew all the beer at their main location in Meadville and ship it out to the franchisees and ship it out to their own tap rooms. So you have a lot of quality control over the product that's out there, and the product is great. For example, they have a sour called Lacto Cooler can. I'll put a copy of the can up here. It's sparkly green and looks like Slimer from Ghostbusters, but it actually is available at Walt Disney World when you're in the park now. So that's pretty cool for a little brewery from Western Pennsylvania. But let's take a look. These are bottled, capped, and then dipped in wax to seal them because they are perfect types of beer for aging. If you wanted to buy a couple bottles of this and then let it sit in a cool, dark place for a few years, you certainly could. But let's take a look. Oh, yeah. Look at that inky, viscous. A little bit of a head, but the head is so dark. Oh, man. Just look at that. Just look at that. It's like sucks in all the light. You'll never get out of there. Whoa. That is just gorgeous looking, creamy, active head. Brown. It's not even a tan head. It's a brown head on a dark brown beer that's so dark you can't see through it. It's not hazy. It's not, yeah, even when I hold it up to the light, you can't really see the light through it, but it's not, it's a clear beer. It's not hazy or sediment filled or anything like that. It's just so dark that light can't get through it. Just gorgeous. Let's take a smell. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's dark, complex. It's got notes of oak. I get a little bit of a um, baked apple, toffee. I get chocolate, fair amount of booziness. Almost smells like a bourbon type of smell. Wow. Initially, you get a little bit of the apple. You get some of the brandy toffee flavor. Uh, at the very end, coffee, like a smooth black coffee. It is phenomenal. The mouthfeel is amazing. It's very full bodied. Almost feels creamy, feels very viscous in your mouth. Up on the front of the tongue, you get a little bit of sweetness. That's primarily where you get a little bit of the apple character. Once it gets to the back of the palate and starts to go down, that's when that smooth black coffee comes right in. Really complements it perfectly. This is definitely a sipper. You'll see I'm serving it in a snifter. This is for a reason. Watch my glassware short. I just did a glassware short. Well, by the time this video comes up, this episode comes up, the glassware short will be up for about a month. But I did a glassware short. I'll put a link to it over here. Talks about the different types of glassware. This particular glass, I'm doing this because there are some beers that just shouldn't be served cold. This style is one of them. Russian Imperial Stout, especially a barrel-aged one. You want closer to room temperature, even at room temperature. This one right now is probably about 52, 53 degrees, which is good for me. But by serving it in a snifter glass, I can hold it in my hand like this and let the heat of my hand warm the beer some, which will release more of the aromas and flavors. Just really, really good dark. Interesting thing about Laird's, they are America's oldest distillery. Started in New Jersey in 1688. Started with producing apple brandy. And it was pretty well known that by 1760, George Washington actually wrote to the distillery asking them for their recipe. I might do a beer short on George Washington at some point, and Benjamin Franklin too, because they were both very interested in home brewing, shall we say. But be that as it may, Laird's is America's oldest distillery. They now produce down in Virginia, but they started off in the beautiful state of New Jersey. So what song do we pair with this? I know you're probably thinking, oh, he's going to play something like prog rocky, dark and moody and complicated and complex. No, actually, I'm going to go in a little bit of different direction. I chose to stick with the dark. The theme of this video is pretty dark, but it's still a fantastic song. New song from a band that really, came to prominence in the early 2000s. But this is this first release off their new album, and I really hope you like it because I really do. All right, guys, enjoy. So what'd you think? I friggin' love the Hives. They're just a great Swedish band, garage rock. They rose to international prominence in the early 2000s with the garage rock revival. They're a little punk, garage rock. They do some very interesting collabs, which there'll be links down below to some of their collaborations. But man, they always get me going. You may remember their early 2000 hits like Tick Tick Boom or Hate to Say I Told You So, but don't sleep on this new album. Bogus Operandi is the first release off the album. The second release, second single off the album is even better. It's called Countdown to Shutdown, and it is just great. They always have very visually striking videos and interesting songs, but I thought this particular one with its nod to the Evil Dead paired really well with a really dark beer. Dark subject for dark nights in a log cabin with dark beer. Sounds good to me. If you like what I'm doing here, please give it a like, and more importantly, subscribe. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, because I'm putting out new content at least once a week, with episodes premiering every Saturday. In between, beer shorts coming out on different topics, questions that you may be asking or want to ask somebody about beer, about the beer making process, about something you see out in the wild beer wise. You got questions? Let me know. Drop a comment. Let me know if you liked the video. Let me know if you didn't like the video. Give it a thumbs up. If you really need to, give it a thumbs down. Let me know what you're thinking, because I love to interact. Until then, happy drinking.